Okay, so here we go. Welcome, everyone. Very nice to meet you. Welcome to our little talk with Anne-Isabelle. Hello. So, I am Maud. I was 23. Well, actually, the first time I stepped foot in Asia, it was 20 years ago. And altogether, it was my first experience in Asia, in education, and in non-profit. I was 23 at the time, and I was very aware of how lucky I was to be well-trained and graduated in France. I had a crave for commitment, and I guess for a bit of adventure also. And since then, I had been very lucky. Serendipity treated me well, and through my experience in consulting, I also had the chance to be part of the adventure of Passerelles numériques that we're going to discuss for the next 30 minutes. And now I'm the Asia director of PN. It means Digital Bridges. And my role is to oversee and support and pilot everything we're doing in Asia, Cambodia, Philippines, and Vietnam.
So, good afternoon. My name is Anne-Isabelle. And when I was a very young kid, I suffered from very severe health issues, and it made me profoundly aware of how lucky I had been and how lucky I am. And it instilled in me the will to give back. And I sincerely believe that the gift of education is a powerful leverage to give everyone the chance they deserve. So here I am as a fundraising manager for Passerelles numériques, building a partnership with financial support and or skill volunteering from their employee. So thank you all for resisting the temptation of a long lunch break and to be here to listen to us sharing about our experience as an NGO on reinventing the way we work. And although neither Maud nor I are from IT background, we believe that we share some common interest. So we'll be together for 30 minutes, including Q&A, and our talk will cover the question raised by Future of Work and the question raised by our 15 years of experience as an educational actor. So let's start by presenting where Passerelles numériques, or should I say later PN, because it's shorter and easier, where PN comes from. So from 1975 to 1980, Cambodia experienced one of the worst tragedies of the contemporary era, resulting not only in the annihilation of the whole society, but also in the disappearance of a framework of values for the living well together. When PN is born in 2005 in Cambodia, the young adults PN wants to support are living through the consequences of this Khmer Rouge tragedy, and how to build one adult's life when the recent models left by the system are the one of violence, denunciation, mistrust, destruction of the family unit, rejection of art, science, culture. Well, making its modest contribution to the reconstruction of a country that wants to look for its future, it is in the IT training, in the computer training that PN adds. So since 2005 in Cambodia, PN strides along the provinces to select and recruit the beneficiaries of our program. And to this youth, completely disconnected of the opportunity of a future, we bring an opportunity of training, an opportunity of employment, an opportunity of quality of life, a compelling promise. But from the beginning, this training cannot be provided without being accompanied by the values and the personal qualities that we believe are essential for professionals committed to their future and to the future of their country, responsible citizens. And those values are trust, respect, solidarity, responsibility, and demanding approach. So our project is about to celebrate its 15th birthday in Cambodia and spread to Philippines in 2009 and Vietnam in 2010. More than 2,000 students graduated from our 3 centers. 90% of them found a job within 2 months. 86% of them still work in the IT field. 50% of our students, at least, are girls. An additional 10,000 Indirect beneficiaries also escape poverty because our alumni give a third of salary back to their families. So it is in the light of this upcoming 15th anniversary and in the light of our 15 years of existence that questions come to us as experienced educators. Thank you.
So as Anne-Isabelle said, PN is committed to sustainable employability, which means that we have a constant, fierce, and rigorous will to adapt our curriculum so that they answer the market needs and expectations. So with the support of our corporate partners, of our alumni, 2,000 of them, we regularly rethink and redesign our curriculum. And behind me, you have the example of one of our 3-center curriculum in the Philippines. We redesign our holistic approach, which I may say, soft and hard skills. Why did PN, from the beginning, decided to invest so much, really strongly, in soft skills? Well, mainly for 2 reasons. If you consider the background of the students that we are supporting, they come from rural areas, 85% of them, which means that they have little visibility, little understanding, no idea. They don't even picture the world they're going to enter once graduated. They have no codes, absolutely no code, and they needed them. That's why the 2 or 3 years training first promoted soft skills. Second, the other reason why it's so important is because from their background they had no leverage, no support, no family behind them, no network at all. So the only thing they could rely on for their future career would be the training they would receive from PN. That's why it was very important for us to prepare them as much as we can. They needed to get the best training possible so that they can prepare to a world, a workplace that we would apprehend and that we would anticipate. And for instance, starting with, you'll see it's very, very basic, starting with integration. Imagine our new batches arriving from the rural area, arriving to Phnom Penh, arriving to Da Nang, arriving to Cebu, where we operate full of hope, smile, I think a bit scared also. Well, basically you had to prepare them with urban orientation, but also living together, physical security regarding the city, but also learning English, of course. To another level, professional life training, something that might appear so obvious for you, but what it is when you don't know anything about the professional world. So, for instance, they would have to acquire the critical behavioral skills and a knowledge, an understanding of what is a company. So they would, of course, do a lot of internships. They would do company visits to understand, and we would also work with inspirational talks, but also workshop about managing a deadline, what it is to give visibility about your work. Very important, but also basic skills. Then, to a higher level, we also train them to be different so that the market, they can answer the expectations of the market, open-mindedness, critical thinking, of course, but ability to work in a group, IT, ability to cooperate. Those are very important skills. However, where are we now? The digital revolution is actually shaking our thinking as an educator. And it's shaking also soon all our practices in every dimensions. Why that? Well, if transformation goes together with the disappearance of middle-skilled jobs, routine jobs, how will emerging markets where we operate live through this transformation? If our role is to train and accompany future coders or developer, I guess like all of you, right? Programmers. How to prepare them for a role, for a future, and potentially for a footprint that actually fits the most wonderful promises, but the most terrifying prophecies also. For instance, how to evolve in a digital world with no borders, no filter, overexposed, overinformed when you come from their background. What about security, respect, privacy, management of data? But more important, when you are a programmer, when you are a creator, how to create responsibly. And those questions are all the more important if we consider that this transformation is going so quick that institution and government struggle to react and to adapt. And what about if you think that those transformations actually design a future which contour is fully and completely uncertain? Well, future is always uncertain, are you going to say, right? De facto. But one only needs to look in the media to see how this topic divides everyone. The relation work-machine, the essence of mankind sometimes. So, as educator, preparing for a future that we can't even foresee. What are our guidelines? What are our fundamentals? How can we prepare our students? Well, we believe that doubt actually could be enlightening, and we believe that we can find both in the learnings from the past and the ancient, but also in the hopes of the future. And listening to the optimistic regarding AI, but also the worried too, we believe we can find some guidance.
Thank you. Yes, as Maud shared, the future is uncertain, blurry, and yet exciting. But how to find guidance, how to find a path in this uncertain future? Well, maybe it can be useful to remind us of two ancient myths. The first one is the myth of King Midas. As you may know, King Midas had asked for the gift to transform into gold whatever he would touch. But he had not thought this through. He could no longer eat, nor drink, nor touch the one he loves. This myth reminds us the importance to ask oneself, what do I want to do with my talent, with my power, with my gift? And actually, when we look at the story of work modernization, we realize that one of the talents of mankind is really his search for an extended and augmented version of himself, with more physical capacity with the industrialization, and with more cognitive ability in decision-making, reasoning, language, memory, with the digital revolution and AI. But the fact remains, though, that what also makes the very essence of mankind is not only intelligence, it's consciousness. It's the consciousness of his own limits, consciousness of his own weaknesses, of his own finitude, that makes man human and that make him want to innovate and fight this condition, and hopefully and paradoxically, without ignoring nor his limits nor his values, because ignoring them, ignoring his limits or ignoring his values would be the risk of an overpowered man condemned to be exceeded by his creature. So our role as educators is to instill and to inculcate to our students the words of wisdom of the ancients. And as the French philosopher Rabelais formulated so well, science without consciousness is but the ruin of the soul. But what also makes the very essence of mankind is our ability to experience feelings. It's our emotional intelligence. It's our cross-cultural awareness. It's our curiosity. So yes, our future, your future, the future of our beneficiaries is likely to be completely disrupted by machines and AI. But what if it was an opportunity? What if, unburdened from a part of his task, this extended man had more time to focus on his purpose, to ask himself, why am I doing what am I doing? And here we can turn to the second myth, or more specifically, allegory, the allegory of the 3 bricklayers. If coding is creating, then our role as educators is to teach our students, our beneficiary, the importance to ask themselves when they create, why are you doing what you are doing? Are you just laying bricks, or are you building up a wall, or are you building up a cathedral? So yes, the future can be promising, and let's dream even bigger. Let's hope that this man, conscious about his limits, conscious about his talents, conscious about his higher purpose and why he's doing what he's doing, let's hope that this man will be prompted to evolve from the job of the mind, to what the American columnist Tom Friedman called the job of the heart.
Promoting to the job of the heart. You know, looking for the higher purpose, looking for the higher meaning. Well, actually, those questions sometimes are raised in the most unexpected places. And little did we know, at the very early stage of PN, back in 2003, when we started to collaborate with Accenture in France and Accenture employees. Little did we know the journey that we were embarking on, and I guess little did they know too. And actually, we realized eventually that two worlds so opposite were actually very complementary. One, for instance, would bring skills, capacities, competencies, processes, visibility, network, funds, of course, to the collaboration, but the other one would bring meaningful experience, out of comfort zone experience, you know, discovering other beyond boundaries, unique situations. Well, actually one filling the gap of the other. And since then, Accenture actually continued to invest a lot in what we now call corporate CSR, corporate social responsibility, CSR, and it became to them very identical. And for PN, since then, we have continued to work very regularly with partners, a lot of different partners, some of them are behind me, on a win-win-win relationship that how to contribute all together in inclusive collaboration. So behind me, you have 3 examples of what we call employee engagement or short missions that are really needed missions. You have Microsoft, who came in the Philippines as part of a pre-training to train on the Microsoft suite. You had JP Morgan in Da Nang, who came for a leadership workshop. And you had Palo IT, actually, who came to Da Nang also to train our students and our staff on Scrum. Well, those collaborations, we believe, you know, they are not anecdotal. They are a trend. They're not a fashionable trend, but they are a trend which is necessary and which is here to stay. And this win-win-win collaboration, where everybody wins and everybody contributes, we believe it's sustainable. Why sustainable? Well, there is a framework which is called the Sustainable Development Goals that I think some of you already knows, that has been designed by the United Nations in 2015, and 193 members of the UN signed for it and recognized that this framework designed 17 goals that contribute to protecting the planet, to ending poverty, and to create peace and prosperity for everyone. This is a framework, practical, very inconvenient, very comprehensive, that gives indicators and guidelines to make a positive impact for everyone. Not only non-profit, but corporate, social societies, institutional organizations, everyone. And indeed, at PN, we believe that this movement of inclusive collaboration, a new way to work together, is actually meaningful and sustainable. Why that? Because first, it answers new expectations from new consumers and employers who want to have a responsible workplace and a learning and growth mindset learn place, a place where you can learn and evolve. Second, also because, as we said before, there are new required soft skills because of the new digital revolution. And those soft skills are actually not soft at all. If you leave them the ability to grow on their own, I think you can wait. But you need to create an environment for those skills to grow. Well, what better environment than inclusive collaboration, as we mentioned before, when you are exposed to cross-cultural awareness, to agility, to something different, something you don't know about. Finally, and we are not naive at PN about that, to be sustainable, a movement has to be profitable. Well, think about it. New leadership, motivated employees, loyal employees, visibility, new network, all those situations are leverage to open new business. And behind me is an example of Accenture in France, who actually wanted to answer a call for tender from the French army. But the targets were not their usual targets. It was a popular suburban candidate. So they turned to a social impact HR cabinet to build together an inclusive business. So at the conclusion of our moment together, we want to share with you that Passerelles numériques, from 15 years of experience in sustainable employability, of collaborative, inclusive collaboration with corporate partners, and on preparing our students for an uncertain future, we stand firm on our belief that everyone has a contribution to make, to have a meaningful world, to reinvent the world where we work. And it is also, we believe it is also the paradox and the wonderful paradox of today that even if we live in the world of an amazing technology, this is human potential that shall and will move us forward. At PN, every day, every student, one student at a time, one graduate at a time, with our partner, with our students, with our staff, with our volunteers, with our alumni, we contribute to prepare together the way we're going to reinvent the way we work. So will you join our movement? Thank you very much.
Thank you.